don't fart in front of my boyfriend. The average person farts between 13 and 24 times a day. But I don't fart in front of my boyfriend. I have been blessed with friends who are terribly open, a dad that vividly describes pooping, and a mom that pees with the doors wide open. And yet, I don't fart in front of my boyfriend. I consider myself to be a rather open and honest person, and I spent some time investigating my own farting habits, as you do. And I realized something that, if I'm being honest, it kind of shocked me. Turns out that in some weird, contorted, and behavioristic manner, I've condition trained my colon not to fart in front of my boyfriend. Why, you ask? It's kind of weird, I know. But it's because I've been convinced by parents, teachers, and other adults in my life that farts are embarrassing and something that's reserved for potty time only. But I've never been told that it's something that's necessary for my body to function properly. I needed to learn how to emotionally distance myself from my body. I needed to think about how the way I looked was never the most important part. My body wasn't made for me to be looked at. My body was made for me to use. When you start considering your body as a tool instead of an ornament, it becomes easier to accept the way that you are built. I also realized that while I applauded myself for being open and honest, and very often turned to criticize others who I believe didn't promote that healthy beauty standard, I never looked inwards. I never truly took the time to consider why humans farts, or why some of the bodily functions that we consider embarrassing exist at all. I needed to look inwards. I spent hours trying to find an outfit for this talk, as if the way I look is more important than what I say. I believe that by creating a better understanding of your body and its functions, you create a stronger foundation for a better and healthier relationship with yourself. There are a lot of myths that exist around the body, like how a man's shoe size correlates with his penis, or if having a lot of penetrative sex will make your vagina looser, or whether getting your period for the first time will magically convert you into a woman. Womanhood is all fun and games until it's a couple of days before your period and you burst into tears watching an old man having a cheeseburger by himself. And that actually happened. However, what happens when these myths and misconceptions become integrated as a part of socially constructed taboos? Is it possible that they cause harm, shame, uncertainty? My mother and aunt grew up in Latin America, in a country way different from our own, but in a country where certain body parts are inextricably linked to gender expression. So without your boobs or your uterus or even long hair, you're no longer considered a real woman. My aunt noticed a lump in her breast, but scared of what her physician, her family, and her community would think, she didn't tell anyone about her concerns until it was too late. I'm not saying that it's easier to lose a breast hair in Norway, or that the women who do experience this hair never experience shame. The difference is that here in Norway, your doctors, your family, and your entire support system have the knowledge of how dangerous breast cancer can be. And that knowledge triumphs over the shame. My aunt died, leaving 6 children behind. My aunt died because she was embarrassed of her body and how it had failed her. My aunt died because her shame overruled her knowledge. I was 13 years old when my aunt died in a world that felt so far away and different from my own. Growing up with a foot in 2 very different cultures, I slowly came to realize that the phenomena that caused my aunt's death wasn't really that unique. We see this very deeply rooted sense of shame very well in our society as well. So many would rather Google their symptoms than actually go visit their doctors because they're embarrassed of their body and of how it sometimes misbehaves. Close to 70% of Norwegian youth between 12 and 13 wants to change something on their body. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons report that during 2016, there was a 39% increase in labiaplasty procedures. That means a 39% increase in people who felt that they needed to operate their vaginas and vulvas. I remember girls wearing bikinis and bathing suits when they showered after gym class as early as in the 3rd or 4th grade. This is a symptom of a generation that feels that their bodies aren't what it should be. But I'm not sure that Google has the answer to this one. When did we become so ashamed of being human? Our culture favors certain body types, and when we exist in an environment where being pretty or your appearances in general are more important than being healthy, we do get imbalanced descriptions of our bodies. The problem isn't seeing a silicone boob or two in social media. The problem arises in the absence of everything else. If the first vagina you ever see is on Pornhub, and no one ever told you of all the forms and shape a vagina may have, you will get a warped impression of what a vagina is and what it should look like. And when we talk about issues regarding self-esteem and self-image, we often turn to blame the ever-growing presence of social medias in our lives. While they do play a significant role in these challenges, I believe that if we were properly educated on our own bodies and our bodies' functions when we were growing up, we would have the tools and the resources to enter social media with confidence. The way we talk directly affects our self-image and our self-esteem. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to ensure that youth and children get this information from safe and fact-based sources, that they get this information from someone whose agenda isn't to earn money or to gain likes, but from someone who has their best interest in mind, and someone that the youth can confide in. I myself especially remember sexual education. I remember a middle-aged man who usually collected fossils, and he was proud to have exchanged the usual bananas with styrofoam penises, and he'd gotten condoms. And he delivered the usual speech on how not to get STIs, how not to get pregnant, and how to be safe. But what I remember the best of all of this is one sentence. Sex usually hurts for the girl the first time. I remember thinking and contemplating, and I think I was 13 at the time, but I remember truly wondering, why would people even bother having sex if it gave you STIs, hurt, and got you pregnant? Well, maybe it wouldn't be the consensus that sex hurts the first time if we were taught about the existence of freaking lube during sexual education. And maybe it wouldn't be the consensus that pain is linked to fear if we were taught that the result of having sex is more often pleasure than pregnancies. We need to teach authorities how to talk to youth and how to talk to them in a language they can understand and relate to. This communication problem has existed as long as youth have, but that's no excuse for us not to try and fix it. There's a Norwegian school nurse who's been able to reach youth and children in an arena where they actually spend their time, on Snapchat. We need more of those safe environments where people feel that they can explore and educate themselves, such as classrooms, nurse offices, and even our own homes. We need more nurses on Snapchat. We need doctors who dare to say dick, and we need mothers and fathers who teach their children the secret wonders of lube. Because when young people have all the information available about their sex, gender, and health, they lead with confidence instead of fear. When young people have all the facts available, they are more likely to make informed choices about their health and body. And last but not least, when young people have all the information available, they are more likely to reach out for the help they need, as their actions are no longer doused with insecurity and shame. I want to give you all a challenge. I want you to spend more time naked, but without inspecting your appearances. I want you to turn your gaze inwards and be kind to yourself and look for what's beautiful in you, but literally inside of you. I want you to remind yourself how incredible it is that you have the most intricate computer working inside of your skull. Your body is capable of running, having sex, doing math homework, and even turning food into fuel. Celebrate the beauty in how the existence of your period enables humankind to exist. Celebrate the beauty in how turning food into feces creates sustenance for your livelihood. Celebrate being human. During 24 hours, 30 liters of gas passes through your body. Most of that air is absorbed into the bloodstream because it contains nutrients that our body needs. However, some air has to escape. But it's quite amazing. And I need you to truly believe me when I say that intestinal gas is healthy, and without it, we would in fact die. So instead of being ashamed, celebrate each single fart as a token of all the amazing things that your body does for you every day. Thank you.